always sort of heard the stories about, Brian Lahore and obviously Colin Meads, and you always knew that they were these hard bastards, right? And so they were going to be these angry men that you're always sort of scared about. But what Rick's saying is absolutely true. The fact that he was now in an environment where, and I think I heard something on the news yesterday where they said we hydrated before the game, whereas back then they used to hydrate after the game.
Yeah.
Here's an environment now, whereas a younger generation, he's come in and he's got this sort of aura about him, and you think, shit, man, he looks like he is. He's a big, hard man. You shake his hand and his mitts are probably 3 to 4 times bigger than yours, and you just know he's this hard guy, and you think, far out. But there's just something about him. There's just something. He didn't have to say anything. You just looked at him. There was just a warm sort of feeling about this man and the presence that he had in the room, and his ability to be able to relate to guys, and guys, probably, my generation, and have this thing about them and they often say, good coaches are the ones that sort of can motivate players or, to do what they sort of want, even though they might not be that great technically. But if you're motivated and driven because there's a great person in there, then you'll do anything for him. And he for me was that sort of person. And every time, he didn't say much, but every time he spoke in the room or in our sort of leadership group, everyone listening could hear a pin drop, because you knew what the things that he was saying, obviously made sense, and it was worthwhile. And he was the one that came up with the fact that better people would make better All Blacks. And so, but just a great man to have around as well. Being able to obviously sit down and have a good yarn with him, but just real genuine, genuine person, a caring guy, and someone that, as you say, that's what he had about him. He's from the first time you met him, he didn't even have to say a word. You could tell this sort of person was was a great person and a warming character, and that's what he was. So, a very, very big loss to I suppose New Zealand in general, and so fantastic guy.
Like, he was a big, powerful presence, but he was incredibly skilled. Like, when he was young, he actually dreamed of being a jockey.
Oh, right.
He loved horses, yeah, and he wanted to be a jockey, and then he got a bit big.
A 6'5" jockey.
But he was an incredible tennis player, really talented sportsman. But one of the stories I reckon that summed him up is when he was the campaign manager in the World Cup. We had a camp up in Auckland before the World Cup, and the players went into town as a group, had dinner in Parnell, and got overexcited, and a lot of them sort of came home quite late the next morning. And we had a team meeting at, say, 10 o'clock, and I think 7 or 8 of them didn't make it to the team meeting, and Brian was sort of like really angry but also really happy, and I said, what? He said, this is perfect. He said, because this is just what we need to set the standards early on. Yeah. So he sent me to go and wake those 7 players up. They all came into the team meeting really sheepish. And then VJ got them all to stand up in front of the whole squad, and I've never seen a dressing down like it. It's like, and some of these were pretty established All Blacks, and he just was looking at them and saying, I don't know if you're good enough to be an All Black. I don't know if you're the right person. I don't know if you're someone we can trust. And these are great players. We're just turning into little children, and he just ripped them apart. And from that moment on, not a problem. But after that team meeting, everyone left, went to training, and one All Black, who remained nameless, showed up after everyone had left and walked in and says, this meeting started yet? So I had to chuck him in the boot of my car to drive him into training in his training gear. And when no one was looking, he just jumped out and ran around and joined in the run.
Was that Frank Bunce?
No.
Oh, okay.